We finally had the news we've been waiting for, in that we have some announced DLCs now coming out for Fallout 4. So I want to take a bit of a moment just to talk about Far Harbor and what it actually is, what we know so far, and what my speculations for it actually are. So I'll leave a link in the description to the page which describes all the DLCs, so if you want to go and read that for yourself, then there'll be a link in the description as I just said. But I am going to give a quick brief as to what Far Harbor actually is. So Far Harbor is going to be the biggest expansion so far. The other two were just sort of little extra things to do within the gameplay, but Far Harbor is going to be an actual new story with new quests and like a whole bunch of new things added, and it will be available later on down the line for $25 or 20 quid or $30 Australian if you use those currencies. That is obviously assuming that you don't already own the season pass. So a quick summary of what Far Harbor actually entails from the Bethesda website. It says, a new case from Valentine's detective agency leads you on a search for a young woman and a secret colony of synths. Travel off the coast of Maine to the mysterious island of Far Harbor, where higher levels of radiation have created a more feral world. So basically, yeah, you are going on a quest probably with Nick Valentine, just because that's what it says, because it is him. Now it'll be interesting to see whether you have to go with him, or whether it's a case of you are being like sent by him and maybe you can take someone else with you, like maybe Piper or Kate or something like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes, but it is a quest from Valentine basically going to try and find a young woman. Now from what we've seen so far, it looks like it's going for a more horror approach, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of mysterious, you know, classical horror type elements, just like jump scares and stuff. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if there was jump scares. We obviously have seen a lot of those in Fallout 4 already. But I also think it's going for a bit more of a sort of film noiric aspect with the, you know, detective aspect and just like the way it's been presented. So what do we know so far? So we know that it's going to be set on an island of Far Harbor, which is off the coast of Maine. We also know how much it's going to be available for. So I did read an article by Kotaku the other day, which I'll try and find a link in the description, which talks about how Far Harbor is actually based off a real island. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that one because it's not entirely relevant, but if you want to give that a read, there should be a link in the description. If there's not, then just like roast me at the stake, I'm fine with that. So we also know that there's also going to at least be the synths there. We know there's going to be children of Atom, and we know there's going to be other local NPCs. As it says here, navigate through the growing conflict between the synths, the children of Atom, and the local townspeople. So obviously the synths are the main focal point of the quest, but it also makes sense that the children of Atom are actually there, because as it says earlier, there are higher levels of radiation, so it makes sense that they'd go where the radiation actually is. Now, whether or not this will be like unbearable, like it'll be the glowing sea, so you'll have to wear radiation armor the whole time, or whether it will actually be bearable, I don't know, because for the most part in Fallout 4 you want to avoid radiation altogether. So if this whole area is radiated, it's going to be pretty sucky, because it says later on, become more powerful with new higher level armor and weapons. But it'd be pretty unfortunate if you had new armor and you wouldn't actually be able to wear it unless it was rad resistant, so it'll be interesting to see how they balance this out. Honestly, the way I think they'll do it is maybe have some rad resistant armor, but I'll touch on this later on. So we also know this is going to be a pretty big expansion. It says Far Harbor features the largest landmass for an add-on that we've ever created. So if you look at some of the previous DLCs, you look at like, if you look at the Lonesome Road world, or the Honest Hearts world, or the world that the pit was set in, all these extra add-on places, it's going to be way bigger than any of those have been before, so we know that there is going to be quite a lot to explore and quite a lot to expect. And lastly, we know from the pictures that we've seen so far that it's going to be pretty like wet and rainy and probably pretty grim weather, but really, what do you expect from Fallout 4? Oh, and we also know that it's going to be released in May of this year, although we don't have a specific day yet. So as far as my predictions actually go, I'm expecting a lot of new wildlife and new enemy types to fight against, because when you look at Fallout 4 compared to Fallout 3, there weren't really a ton of new types of enemies. I know there were a few, like the blood bugs and stuff like that, but there weren't an insane variety of new enemies, so I think this is a good opportunity, especially with it being a very different place. I think this is, and also with the higher radiation, as it says, higher levels of radiation have created a more feral world. I think this is a great opportunity for them to add new creatures in. With regards to what the creatures will actually be like, if I were to take a guess, I'd say maybe some sort of bear, just because it is set in Maine. I know it's on an island, which maybe rules that out, but I mean, like, whatever, right? It's Fallout. And obviously, if it is feral and radiated, then it wouldn't be surprised if we had some sort of bear thing, maybe similar to the Algoi in the past, but more like, I don't know, bear-like. I also don't necessarily think this would fit so well, but I think if it had some sort of radiated Maine Coon, that'd be awesome, because it is set in Maine. For those who don't know, the Maine Coon is like a breed of cat, which is fuck off massive. So if it had like a massive radiated feral Maine Coon at some point as like a boss or something, you know, I don't see why not. That'd be pretty fun. Maybe it drops some like legendary claw or something. I don't know, dude. Just spitballing. I also expect to see some sort of interesting sea life, and the reason why I say this is because first of all, it obviously is a harbour and it's set on this sort of sea town island, so so a lot of it's going to be focused around the water anyway. But if you look in the picture here and zoom in, this actually to me looks like some bones of maybe like a massive fish. So obviously it is dead already because it's just bones, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some sort of other types of like dangerous giant fish type thing, or maybe some sort of bosses. If anyone remembers the Easter egg from back in Oblivion where there was the giant slaughterfish that was hidden somewhere in Oblivion, maybe you'll see something like that, I don't know. Because this skeleton, if you look at it next to the boat, it does look really big. So if we did see some sort of irradiated fish type thing, I think that would be awesome, and it'd be pretty cool because we haven't really seen much in sea life in Fallout series before, so I think that'd be pretty interesting to see. Also, there'll probably be like mile lurks and lake lurks and stuff like that, just because that's what you come to expect around water in the Fallout games. Okay, next I want to talk about the factions and the townspeople themselves. So it does say that there'll be choices which will lead to different things happening, and it's up to you to bring peace to Far Harbor. What it says here is, will you work towards bringing peace to Far Harbor, and at what cost? So obviously there's going to be choices. It says right at the end of the paragraph, the choices are all yours. So there's obviously going to be choices to make, obviously resulting in different outcomes. So I guess the thing to search for a young woman is just like a way to get it started. Whether or not there is actually a young woman you need to find in the end, we'll see how that turns out. Obviously, if there are synths there, there's going to be something interesting going down. Now, it'll be interesting to see if there's some sort of conflict between the synths and the children of the atom, and maybe between the townspeople themselves. If it's just going to be a bit of an island as opposed to like a whole state or whatever, then maybe it's going to be conflict over land. Maybe one group is trying to push another group out. So it'll be interesting to see how you will be balancing those, trying to decide what you want to do. Now, obviously, there's going to be the main quest, because obviously you are going here with Valentine to try and find this young woman, but it does also mention new faction quests, which will obviously link in to bring in peace. So it'll be interesting to see whether these are a main quest and then side quests, or whether they all link in together, or what. Honestly, my predictions are that there will be some sort of filler side quest just to add more content to do, and the reason I say this is because a lot of people's complaints with the Fallout 4 base game was that they got bored of it really quickly. Well, not necessarily got bored of it, but just ran out of things to do. So I think if they add more side quests and stuff to do, that'll definitely score some points with the fans, and that's pretty much what they need to do, because that'll mean that they've been listening to their fans, and you know, extra content is always good. And especially for the price of $25 or 20 quid, I definitely suggest a bunch of extra stuff to do besides the main quest. And lastly, what I wanted to talk about was the whole thing with the new level armor and the new weapons. As I said earlier, this is a high level of radiation area, so I really hope that either the armor has some sort of anti-radiation stuff, or, you know, it's like not the whole area is like completely radiated, because you've got to strike a balance. Because the whole thing of this island is it's highly radiated, so it'd be pretty unfortunate if you're getting all this new armor and you couldn't wear it anyway because you just get radiated. Obviously, new weapons are cool. I don't really have anything specific to say about the new weapons without just like guessing stuff. I would love to see new sort of cryo things, because if you think back to when we were looking at the trailers of the games, before Fallout 4 actually came out, there was a lot of hype surrounding the cryo weapons, and we never really got anything beyond the cryo later. So I would really like to see some new cryo weapons. Maybe they've listened to the community on that aspect as well, but it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But just on the whole, I think it'd be more interesting to just get some different types of weapons, like element-wise. So like I said, cryo, maybe some more fiery type weapons, or some like lightning-y weapons, ghost weapons, stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking might happen with the weapons. But for the most part, I'm just hoping that the armor has got the balance, and that I'm not having to take it off to wear radiation suits all the time. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Those are my speculations of Far Harbor. If you have any questions, then probably don't ask me, because I probably won't know the answer, but feel free to post them in the comments. Well, what I wanted to say, actually, was if you have any speculations of your own, feel free to leave those in the comments. I really enjoy discussing these things with you guys, and I really enjoyed having the discussion on the previous discussion video. But yeah, other than that, my name's YetiHype. Thank you very much for watching. I have a video coming out later this week of what I think it'll take to make the perfect Elder Scrolls 6. But yeah, other than that, my name's YetiHype, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace, peace.
Let's run, make a great escape, and I'll be waiting outside for the getaway. It doesn't matter who we are, we'll keep running through the dark. And all we'll ever need is another day. We can slow down, cause tomorrow is a mile away, and live like shooting stars, cause happy endings hardest to fake.